Hey guys, welcome back to the DAHKTUBE. And before we get started, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. So if you haven't watched the previous videos on introduction to Surds and the laws of Surds and reducing Surds or reduction of Surds, I'd advise you to go and watch those before you get started here. So in order to add and subtract Surds, you'd have to know how to reduce Surds. So in order to reduce the Surds, we'd have to find the Surds with the smallest common irrational factor. So for example, let's say we have the question 4 times root 72 plus root 32. So now we need two columns in the corner of our books, I guess. So we need to find factors of 72, and we need to find factors of 32. So I'd always find the factors of the smaller number first, because that would require less items. So let's go. So it will be 1 times 32, 2 times 16, 3 times nothing would give you 32. Then it would be 4 times 8. Right? So then, based on this, we can look to see what would be common for factors of 72. So you'd have 1 times 72. You'd have 2 times 36. You wouldn't have any 3. You'd have 4 times 18, and you'd have 8 times 9. Now, what we could do is look to see what are in common. So remember, we would not use the first one, the one with the ones, those are out. So you realize that there's 2 here and 4, 2 here and 4. So you'd have to think which number can you find the square root of? So you can find the square root of 36, you can find the square root of 4, you can find the square root of 16, and you can find the square root of 4. But you have to look to see when you're finding the square root of the other number, meaning the other number, which one of them would be identical. So if you find the square root of 18, the square root of 18 is not the square root of 8. However, the square root of 2 is the same thing as the square root of 2. So that means, because remember, the smallest common irrational factor. So that means we're using these here. So with that being said, we'll have 4 times, open bracket, root 2 times 36 plus root 2 times 16. So that'll be 4 times root 2 root 36 plus root 2 root 16. So that'll be 4 times root 2 times root 6 squared plus root 2 times root 4 squared. So that's 4 times root 2 times 6 plus root 2 times 4. So that would be 4 times 6. That'll give us 24. That'll be 24 root 2 plus 4 root 2. Now, the reason why we'd want the smallest common irrational factor is because when we get to this point, because the order and the radicand are the same for both of them, we can simply add the coefficients. So the answer will be 24 plus 4, which will give us 28. So it will be 28 root 2. And that would be a final answer. Okay, so again, let's say we have this question. We have our little table and we want to find the factors of 243 and 48. So again, 1 times 48. So I'm starting with a smaller number, which is 48. So then we have 2 times 24. We have 3 times 16, 4 times 12, and 6 times 8. Now the number 243 is not divisible by even numbers. Based on how you can tell that it is not divisible by even numbers. So that means it wouldn't be divisible by 2, 4, nor 6. And then this one would not count. So that means, based on that, this would be a common factor for it. So that means 3 multiplied by something would be a common factor for both of them. So 3 times 81 would give you 243. So then you have to think, can I find the fourth root of 81? The fourth root of 81 is 3. So yes, we can use this one. And the fourth root of 16 is also 2. And then the smallest coefficient, irrational coefficient, would be the root 3. That would be common. So where I go? So we'd have 8 times fourth root of 3 times 81 minus 3 times fourth root of 3 times 16. So we'd have 8 times fourth root of 3 times fourth root of 81. You can put that in a bracket. Minus 3 times fourth root of 3 times fourth root of 16. You can put that part in a bracket as well. So we'd have 8 times fourth root 3 times fourth root 3 to the 4 minus 3 times fourth root of 3 times fourth root of, not 4, sorry, 2 to the 4. So we'd have 8 times fourth root 3 times 3 minus 3 times fourth root 3 times 2. So 8 times 3 would give us 24. So that would be 24 fourth root of 3 minus 3 times 2, that's 6. So that would be 6 fourth root of 3. And then you have 24. So because these are the same, you can subtract the coefficient. So it will be 24 minus 6, which is 18, fourth root 3. And that would be a final answer. So now we have a question with 3 terms and a combination of addition and subtraction. So in your corner, again, you'd want to have your 3 columns, just for your rough work. So you'd have 81, 24, and 375. So again, I'd start with my smallest number, which is 24. So it's 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. So for 81, you'd have 1 times 81, 3 times 27, and 9 times 9. So based on the pattern that I'm seeing here, it would look like we have 3 being in common. So that means the next one would be that 3 would be for the 375. So we'd have 1 times 375, and we'd have 3 times 125. So remember, the order is cube root. So the cube root of 27 is 3. So we can find the cube root of 27. We can find the cube root of 8, which is 2. And we can find the cube root of 125, which is 5. And then the smallest common irrational coefficient would be root 3. So now we'd have 7 times 3 times cube root of 3 times 27 plus cube root of 3 times 8 minus cube root of 3 times 125. So we'd have 7 times cube root of 3 times cube root of 27 plus cube root of 3 times cube root of 8 minus cube root of 3 times cube root of 125. So that would be 7 times cube root 3 times cube root 3 cube plus 3 cube, the cube root of 3 times cube root of 2 cube minus cube root of 3 times cube root of 5 cube. So we'll have 7 times cube root 3 times 3 plus, so plus cube root 3 times 2 minus cube root 3 times 5. So you'd have 7 times 3. So 7 times 3, that's 21. So you'd have 21 cube root 3 plus 2 cube root 3 minus 5 cube root 3. So 21 plus 2, that's 23. And 23 minus 5, that's 18 cube root 3. So that's all there is to adding and subtracting surds. Thank you guys for staying tuned, and I'll see you guys next time on the DAHKTUBE.